Hi, I'm going to read The Mummy's Gold by Kate McMullan, illustrated by Jeff Spackman. It's one of my favorites. Now, in my library, it's a beginning chapter book, so it's Triangle. The call number is Triangle MAC for Kate McMullan because the MAC is the first three letters of the author's last name. My big brother Henry tries to trick me out of my money. There he is. He's trying to sell him all of his broken toys. One time, when I was little, Henry said, "Hey, Jake, a nickel is bigger than a dime, right?" And then he got me to give him all my little dimes, and he gave me all his big nickels. What a dirty trick. Now I keep my money in my bank. I have lots of money, and I make sure that Henry can't get his hands on it. Last Saturday, Henry said, "Hey, Jake, Max and I are going to a movie. Want to come? I will pay for you." I was so surprised right away. I said, "Okay." But then I started to wonder, why was Henry paying for me? What was he up to? We got to the theater just in time. The movie was called The Mummy's Gold. In the movie, a man with evil eyes found a tomb. In the tomb was a mummy, and all at once the mummy sat up right in his coffin. In the movie, the evil man stole the mummy's gold. He hid it. The mummy chased the evil man all over the world, and finally the mummy got him. He grabbed him by the neck. Slowly he squeezed until the man's eyes popped out. Splat! And then the mummy's face on the screen grew bigger and bigger, and he seemed to be looking right at me. And he said, "I want my gold. I will search until I find it." Oh man, I was shaken. That movie seemed so real. After the movie, I followed Henry and Max outside. It was almost dark. For once, I was kind of glad Henry was around. But he wasn't around for long. "Hey, Jake," he called. "See ya!" And then Henry ran off with Max. What a rat. So I walked home by myself. It was scary. I tried not to think about that mummy. I was almost home and I got a strange feeling. Was someone following me? I slowly turned my head to see. The street was empty. I kept on walking, but the strange feeling did not go away. I started walking faster, and in the news box it said, "Mystery robber robs bank." I heard footsteps behind me. Was it footsteps? I spun around. I could not believe my eyes. At the corner stood... No, it couldn't be. But it was. It was a mummy. And it was coming closer. I was so scared I couldn't move. And then the mummy spoke. "I want my gold," it wailed, just like in the movie. And I turned and ran. I heard the mummy behind me. I ran some more. I zoomed up my front steps, and then I stood there panting. I saw the mummy walk away, and then I saw something else. The mummy had on a blue shirt. The mummy was Henry. I went inside. Our parents were out, so I stuck a pizza in the microwave, and then I waited for Henry, and at last he came home. "Why did you dress up like a mummy?" I asked him. "Why did you try to scare me?" I didn't," Henry said, but I knew better. Oh, and on the TV it says, "Mummy Loose," coming up next. Later, I put on my PJs and I got into bed, and as I lay there, I thought about getting back at Henry, and then I heard a voice from outside. "I want my gold," it wailed. And I rushed to my window, and there was the mummy again, but I wasn't scared now. "Cut it out, Henry," I called. "Cut what out?" asked a voice behind me, and I turned around, and there stood Henry. Yikes! I looked back out the window. Again the mummy wailed, "I want my gold!" And then it ran off. But now I saw something. The mummy had on red sneakers. I knew those red sneakers. The mummy was Max. Max and Henry were both trying to trick me. But why? Henry said, "Hey, Jake, maybe you should give the mummy your money." Aha! Now I knew what Henry was up to. It was all a trick to get my money. I pretended to believe Henry. What should I do? I asked. Henry said, empty your bank, take all your money to the theater tomorrow night, be there at 8 o'clock and leave it by the door. Okay, I said, but will you and Max come with me? I will, said Henry. He looked nervous, but then he added quickly, we don't need Max. The next day, I called my Uncle Rob. Uncle Rob is my dad's brother, his little brother. I knew he'd help me. I told Uncle Rob about Henry's trick. Henry wants my money, I said. Well, what do you want me to do? Uncle Rob asked. I told him to dress up like a mummy, a really gross mummy. And then I told Uncle Rob where to go and what time to be there. And just make sure you really scare Henry and Max, I told him. Uncle Rob laughed and said, I will be there. Next on Inside Scoop, more reports on escaped mummy. That night, Henry and I walked to the theater. I had all my money in my backpack. It was heavy. I'm scared, I said. Of course, I was just pretending. And I handed Henry my money. You go, I said. Henry smiled. No problem, he said. I watched Henry go. Oh boy, I was going to get him now. Henry stood and waited, and pretty soon along came Max the mummy. This time I saw his red sneakers and the bottoms of his jeans. Henry pretended to be scared, but he didn't pretend for long. All of a sudden, Uncle Rob shuffled out from behind the theater. Did he ever look disgusting? His bandages were peeling off. His skin looked like old oatmeal. He held out his hands as if he wanted to choke Henry. I want my gold, Uncle Rob wailed. Henry and Max took one look at him. Yeah! They both cried. Henry dropped the money. He and Max ran away, and they never looked back. I ran from behind the bushes. Wow! You were great, I cried, and I shook Uncle Rob's hand. Ew, it felt all mushy. And did he ever stink? And the newspaper says, watch out for the mummy. You look so real, I told him. I picked up my backpack. Uncle Rob tried to grab it from me. I jumped away. Oh no, I laughed. That was not part of the deal. I want my gold, said Uncle Rob. Boy, he was really into this act. And then he staggered off. I thought he must want to take off that yucky costume. When I got home, Henry and Max were not there. I was all alone. The light was blinking on the phone machine. I pressed a button. Hey, Jake, said Uncle Rob's voice. I am really sorry. I couldn't make it tonight. Something came up at work. How about tomorrow night? Give me a call. What was going on? My head was spinning. Uncle Rob had not come. And if the other mummy was not Uncle Rob and was not Henry and was not Max, then who was it? And the paper says, mummy still on the loose. So that is The Mummy's Gold. I love this book very much, and I want to explain a couple of things. So I put this purple dot on it because it's scary, and I put the red dot on it because it's a mystery. Because we don't know, was it really a mummy? Maybe. Was it Uncle Rob just decided to fool everybody, and he really did dress up like the mummy? Or could it have been a real robber who decided to dress like a mummy so he could scare everybody? That's why I love this book. It's terrific.